Here we are for another episode of Maine Outdoor Film Festival, Filmmaker in Focus. We're here at the Gem Theater in Bethel with Rick Groleau, the filmmaker of The Town That Moved a Mountain, then forgot they did it.
Right.
And also a recent Best Screenplay winner from the Massachusetts Independent Film Festival. Rick, so nice to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
What was your sort of inspiration behind telling the story?
So what happened was when I grew up skiing there. I started skiing when I was 13 years old, which was very late, and with my friends, most of them had started when they were more like 2 years old. So I was skiing there in my teen years, and one day I was looking at a road map and I saw that Spruce Mountain was in J, but it wasn't at the location where I was skiing. It wasn't at the Spruce Mountain that I knew. So it sparked a question in my head. And after a little investigating, I found out that no, there was an original Spruce Mountain a long time ago in this other location. So my friends didn't really know about it, and most of the people that I knew didn't know about the original Spruce Mountain. So years later, I thought, this might make a good story. So what happened was I knew one of a friend of mine, her dad was part of the original group who built the original ski area. And so I went to him and interviewed him, and from him I found out about all of these other people who were involved and still alive. I mean, they're all in their upper 80s now, so they're they're getting up there. So it just led from one person to another, and it was for me it was eye-opening because I didn't really know the rich history of the original Spruce Mountain.
So what a great community there, though. I mean, it's just so neat that a town will say, hey, we're going to really just put the recreation and the well-being of our, townspeople before, any profit, any, franchising or what, we're just really looking for something so that we can, recreate in the winter, be together as families and grow.
Yeah, and it was great that they did this, but, when for my generation, we kind of took it for granted, and we even sometimes even made fun of Spruce Mountain because it was just really a small hill, but it impacted so many people's lives in the town, and it made a huge influence on just skiing in the town. There are just so many people who learned to ski there, and the trailer, when I first posted it on Facebook, it kind of went viral, I think, in Maine, and I think probably because so many people skied at Spruce Mountain, and they were interested in the story.
Well, it is a wonderful story. So I want to ask you about your budget.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about, this was obviously bankrolled with huge
very,
money bags.
Very low budget. I have my own equipment, and the main cost was just traveling between Massachusetts and Maine to do the interviews. I did, I think, 15 interviews in all. But yeah, there was the gas money, but except for that, I spent $200 for one piece of music, and the rest of the music, there are 22 tracks of music in the film, and the rest of the music, I either contacted the band and just told them about the project and asked if I could use their music, or I went to a website where a collection of Creative Commons music was available. And most of the ones I selected from there were non-commercial restriction, had a non-commercial restriction. So I was able to, again, I would need to contact the musician, tell him what I was doing, and ask if it was okay for me to use it.
Right, yeah, so when HBO picks it up, you're going to have to
Yeah, I can't do that.
You're going to have to write those guys back and all right, let's make a deal.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And
some of the music too, I mean, I've got the Mighty Marshall Ramblers. I don't know if you know them.
Yeah.
So I contacted them and asked if I could use some of their music. And they have, I don't know, 3 or 4 tracks, I think, in the film. And there was this great Texas band, the Black and White Years, kind of funky music. And I just, emailed them, and they were more than happy to help out. Editing takes a lot of time, so I spent quite a few hundred hours, I think, editing the film.
What was the most rewarding part about completing this film for you?
I think the reactions that I see when people watch it, I've had a screening in Livermore Falls. I had a special screening for, the Friends of Spruce Mountain, and, seeing their reaction and their appreciation too for covering this story, something, these guys, these original Spruce Mountain builders aren't going to be around forever, and to get, to capture their story on film means a lot to them, I think, and to me too, and probably most people who have skied at Spruce. So that's been the most rewarding.
There's so many wonderful things about the film. It's such a great main story. So
another thing too, that it would have been really hard to make the film without the great photography that happened. So Bill Mitchell took all of these really beautiful Kodachrome shots, slides of the original Spruce Mountain. So he had, I don't know, almost 100 of these slides that he let me use. So I got really nice scans of them, and it would have been tough to tell a story without those visuals. The same with the new Spruce Mountain and the Dion family who owned the farm, who they owned the farm where the old Spruce Mountain was moved to.
What did you film on?
So I shot with a Nikon D70 and a D7100 for the wide shots.
And I know you had a couple drone shots in there too.
Yeah, so I bought a pretty inexpensive drone, but it shot 4K video, and so I learned how to use it, over a couple weekends, and then brought it up to Maine, and I was up for Christmas vacation last year, and it just so happened on my last day there or the day before, we had this big snowstorm, 2 feet of snow. So I got to Spruce, early in the day, and all of the trees were covered with snow, and it just, made a huge difference. I was able to get all of this great footage.
Well, that's
just, it was by pure luck that we got that nice snowstorm.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, totally. Somebody's looking out for you. Okay, so we're really excited to see this tonight here in Bethel, but do you have other screenings scheduled?
Yeah, Sanford International Film Festival. That's October 19th here in Maine. And then the Adirondack Film Festival, same weekend, Glens Falls, New York.
Awesome.
And then it'll be shown at a fundraiser for Spruce Mountain, and that's in November, early November.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, that's what's planned for right now. It's really bare bones, shoestring budget. So every year they need help now to keep the operation running. And it's not like when I skied there. When I skied there would be 200 kids or more skiing on the mountain. Now you go there on a busy day, well, on a normal day, and there are a couple dozen. So they don't have the income coming in like they used to for tickets. So fundraising is very important to them. So just to pay for the diesel to run the generators to operate the tows, they don't get power from the mill like they used to. So that's an added expense. So
the small hills need all the help they can get, because once they miss a year or two, the work gets even harder to resurrect them. And it's like, I don't know, we've been trying to go to, we should go to Spruce this year, man. I only had 2 skier days last year, but we went to Black, another.
Okay. Have you ever been to Spruce?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't. And I have a 2-year-old now, and she's going to be getting after it, so it's perfect for.
It's perfect for learning.
Yeah.
And fun to spend the day there too, if you haven't been there before.
So I guess I just wanted to ask you, even taking a step back from this, what inspired you to get into filmmaking to begin with?
Wow. That's a really good question, because I don't think you know the answer, but the Maine Outdoor Film Festival is what got me into filmmaking. I was doing work in video, for my job, but I guess you had an intern a few years ago who was looking for content for the festival, and she contacted me, and I submitted my film. It was just a 3-minute film about me and my son surfing 10 beaches in 5 days, covering 4 states. And, so I submitted it at her request or your request, and it was accepted into the festival, and I was thinking, well, gee, if I can get into a festival without even trying, what if I try? So that was my first film, and since then I've done 3 documentaries.
That's so warm to hear. I mean, you're a gifted storyteller, so I'm surprised that, obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but you are a gifted storyteller, so I'm surprised that, like, your filmmaking began, like, in such an official sense so late in life.
Yeah. Yeah, and I went to Emerson too, and studied film and television production, and went to work for public television. And because I wasn't part of the union, I couldn't touch the editing equipment or the camera or lights or anything. So it was only much later that I just started getting back into it. But yeah, this whole path of doing film festivals, I think I've been accepted at around 20 festivals so far, since I started, 4 years ago. And it all started with the Maine Outdoor Film Festival.
That's awesome for you. I mean, really, like, your work just keeps getting better. So I do want to ask you what's next for you in terms of projects coming up.
Back when I was studying at Emerson, I worked on a proposal to do a film about a ravine that people who ski in the area know about, not in this state. So I'm hoping that might be my next documentary to talk about, to feature that ravine. And then I've also written a few screenplays, so I'm working on trying to, get that going to get funding, or, just get the ball rolling for 1 or 2 of those.
Rick, thanks so much for spending time with us here. And by us, I mean me and the Maine Outdoor Film Festival fans. But thanks a lot, man. Keep up the good work.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad to be a part of the Maine Outdoor Film Festival. It's the highlight for me for the past few years coming here, and when I'm a part of it, it's even better.
Well, we'll have to get you on the river trip next year, Labor Day weekend.
Oh yeah,
it'd be really fun.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see how the Bethel crowd enjoys this tonight. Thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.